Dear students A, B, and C, hello everyone. This is your English teacher Hassan. I really miss you so much. Okay, at the previous video, we talked about reading through the ages. Okay, now we are dealing with reading comprehension, and the previous video was the first part for this text that we have on page 76 in your students books, and today this is the second part. Okay, for this part. In the previous video we talked about reading, and we said that we will start, or we are going to start, from the very ancient ages, from the Greeks. Okay, then we moved uh, to the Roman Empire, then to the Dark Ages, okay, and we stopped here. Today we are going to continue what we have started before from this point, and I'm going to read to explain new ideas. You know, this text, this passage, these paragraphs are so important and beneficial. You know, it has a very strong and the new vocabularies, okay, and we have a new information and a unique knowledge. Okay, now I'm going to read. As the Islamic Golden Age, so now we are moving to the Islamic Golden Age, because the previous paragraph we said that the Europe itself, okay, went through the Dark Ages, while our countries and our, the East that we live in started to be flourished. Okay, so the Islamic Golden Age. You know, from this name you can understand that it was a very rich age, a very strong age, the Islamic age. Now at this time he started to fade. So the Islamic Golden Age faded. Now, what do you mean by the verb faded? Faded is the past form of the verb fade, which means disappear gradually. So the Islamic Golden Age started to disappear, and the culture in Europe underwent a revival. So it started to what? What does the word revival mean? Okay, actually, revival is linked with number two. Revivals means the act of becoming or making something strong or popular again. So, at this time, the Golden Age, the Islamic Golden Age, faded, and the Europe culture started to become strong, and it was the time of the Renaissance. Renaissance is the period of time of becoming strong and becoming powerful. So Europe started the Renaissance age. So we are discovering the Renaissance age, okay, in Europe. Now there was a renewed interest. Renewed means what? It means happening again with increased interest or strength. So this interest renewed in the works of the Greeks, and the development of new forms of writing, such as the essay. As you can see here, you can notice how the Greeks culture and the Greeks literature influenced many different ages and eras. So it is so important, and we have to read the Greeks culture. It is so rich. And okay, such as essay, and you know what does essay mean. However, literature was still mainly in the hands of the aristocracy. Now, aristocracy is uh, those people, okay, who are elite people, rich people, okay, and the upper class. So aristocracy means the high class and the upper classes. So in this time, literature was still mainly in the hands of the aristocracy and the upper classes. What about the lower classes? They cannot read, you know? They don't have the literature in their hands because they have to work, they have to gain money, they have no time to read literature. Also, literature was concerned by those two classes because it is so rare. It refers to the upper classes and aristocracy class. They were literate. So what do we mean by literate? Literate means able to read and write. So those two classes were able to read and write and had the time to read. As I told you, they have no works because they have their own works and they have slaves and people who works for the benefit of them, and that's why they had a lot of time. And poetry became a popular pastime for the wealthy, those aristocracy and the upper classes. Now those two classes are wealthy people, are a wealthy class. Okay, it has wealthy people. Now literature and poetry became a popular pastime. Pastime, okay, is something that you enjoy doing when you are not working. You can notice and realize how those slaves and the lower classes and the middle classes, or the middle class and the lower class, they are suffering. And literature and poetry became a popular pastime just for the wealthy. Okay? But all this was to dramatically change. All of these actions changed. For what? Thanks to what? Thanks to an invention of a great importance. The printing press. The printing press. So the printing press changed everything. Okay. In 1455, the printing press was presented to the world by John Gutenberg, or Jan. Okay, by John Gutenberg. Now, John Gutenberg invented the printing press in 1455, and he presented it to the world. It had an immediate impact. Immediate means straight. Okay, impact or influence. And the cost of publishing books dropped. Do you know what does drop mean? It was so extremely expensive. But now, after John Gutenberg invented his own printing press, these books dropped. Drop means became cheap. Okay, dramatically, and look, prices and book prices therefore fell. Fell means became cheaper. Okay, now literature was no longer only available. Now it is available for everyone, not just for the privileged. So what does privileged mean? Privileged means having an advantage or opportunity that most people do not have. Those people, privileged people, okay, they have the money, they had the time, but now no, because literature started to spread thanks for the printing press, okay, and for John Gutenberg, and the fact that more people had access to books also influenced what writers wrote about. Okay, now collections of popular legends. These are types of writing. Okay, legends and folk tales. Now folk tales is an old stories okay, that had been told again and again. Okay, these popular stories, folk tales. So it is an old stories that has been or yeah, that have been told again and again. Okay, were published and texts written in prose. So there was the poetry, but here the prose appeared. What does prose mean? Now, poems and poetry consists of stanzas, rhyme scheme, rhythm, phrases, repeated phrases. But the prose is the written or the writing that is not poetry, the normal speech. Prose is the normal speech, okay? The essay, like, okay, whatever. So prose is the normal speech. The prose started to appear in print, and it was the beginning of the revolution that was to make reading an essential skill for everyone. And you know that nowadays, reading is so essential, extremely essential. Now let's go to answer these exercises. The first question here: who developed a machine that made reading texts available to a lot more people? What do you think? Yes, excellent. John Gutenberg. So the first one, the answer is John Gutenberg. Okay, who was the leader who helped establish the House of Wisdom? Who is the leader who established, okay, the House of Wisdom, or helped to establish the House of Wisdom? Excellent. He is the Caliph or Al-Khalifa Harun al-Rashid. Excellent. Who wrote a piece of literature engraved in stone? Great, yes. The Sumerians. Who wrote a book that's still used in the cinema industry today? Who wrote a book that is still used in the cinema industry today? Okay, excellent. Yes, Aristotle. Who copied the works of Greeks? Great job, the Roman. Excellent, guys. You are great. Okay, now let's move to the second exercise. Now, after you read the text again, come here and let's answer these questions. As a consequence of improvements in technology, what do you think? We can read, we are reading or writing communication, reading skills have changed. What do you think? Yes, B. So we are reading more and more. Okay, the first written poems reflected characteristics of spoken language, or were all written by the Sumerians, or were all written on stone, had to be memorized by the writers. What do you think? Excellent. Yes, reflected characteristics of spoken language. Let's move to the third question. The third one is: during the time of the Roman Empire, the Romans invited new forms of literature, limited the number of literature styles and forms people could use, spread Greek ideas on literature. What do you think? Yes, they spread the Greek ideas with C. Okay, crazy circle. Okay, now Arab centers of learning. What do you think? A, B, C, D, D, or C? Yes, excellent. It's A. Great job. And number 5, let's move to number 5, and the last one is number 6. During the Renaissance in Europe, what do you think? Most people could read and write. The upper classes wrote in Greek. Most literature was written about rich people, or literature was enjoyed by only few people. Yes, literature was enjoyed by only a few people. Now, the fall in book prices was caused by what? Technology, the publication of books, revolution, or new writing styles? Yes, by the technology advances, because the printing press is considered as a revolution in technology advances. This is the technology at that time. Okay, guys. Now, what I want from you, this exercise, okay, pick one of those 3 questions, answer them, answer this, that one that you have chosen, okay, then move to your workbook on page 68, read this passage here, read this one, okay, then answer number 1, 2, 3, and 4, okay? I'm waiting your homework. This is your homework. I'm pleased to be here today with you. Thank you guys. Wish you the best.